Yay. So for the global challenge, there are different, as we selected 9 finalists, and this represent different approaches in different contexts. I think your project is quite unique, is in fact led by, of course, also dedicated architects, but backed up by a quite established, remarkable organization. But I think the first question is still quite relevant to say that what's your ambition as practitioners, and also what how is your ambition is related to the do it together practice that we are promoting at Architecture in Development?
Thank you very much. So let me introduce myself. I am Mohammad Liaquat Ali. I'm working at BRAC. I think some of you know BRAC, but maybe some of you don't know BRAC. BRAC is an what you call NGO, civil society organization here in Bangladesh. But we have also BRAC International. We have presence in 10 African countries. And BRAC is the largest NGO in the world currently. So BRAC established in 1972. I think very past, we have celebrated our 50 years journey. So since inception, BRAC started its journey with the marginalized and poor people affected due to disaster, like flood, cyclone, etc. So working with poor people and community, it is inbuilt in the DNA of BRAC. So, you know, Bangladesh is a country of disaster. Mostly, these disasters are related to climate change, flash flood, salinity, cyclone, storm surge. So, and some of that people are migrated to cities and live in a poor condition in the slums. So our housing work not only concentrated in the coastal area, but also in the urban cities, urban context, we have some low-cost resilient housing models also. And also, you know, the magnitude and the frequency of cyclone in Bangladesh is increasing. It is recorded, it is proven. So the big 2 cyclones is called Ayla and Cedar in 2007 and 2009, hit Bangladesh very badly. And after that, lots of donor and government initiative try to address the housing infrastructure of that coastal area. You know, 1/3 of the country is the coastal zone. It's the 19th district in the southern part of the country. It's very close to sea. And at that time, we tried to do some rehabilitation work with the housing models. And BRAC is also try to develop some housing models, especially for the coastal area and for the affected people of Ayla and Cedar. Obviously, that has considered the issue of climate change. And also, I have to explain the cyclone shelter approach in Bangladesh. You know, in the coast, I think it's about 30 years and above since the first cyclone shelter built in Bangladesh. Because as I said, the frequency and magnitude of cyclone and storm surge is increasing in the coast. So people living there during cyclone and storm surge, we have very robust and good early warning system. We can warn people very ahead of time. but where they go. So for that basis, we have constructed lots of cyclone shelter in the coast. But these are started 30 years back, and till today we are constructing. So the design and the architecture behind that construction, they realize the challenges and the uses and the modification of the shelter is always needed and necessary. Because when they construct, people will come and take shelter, and after cyclone, they'll go back their home. And people don't like to come to the shelter leaving behind their assets and livelihood there. So they normally don't like to come. So if you design a shelter without considering the separate room for male and female, there is an issue. If there is no provision of light, if there is no provision of drinking water, toilet facility, it's an issue. So if there is no good communication to go to the shelter very quickly and easily, that's a very huge issue. So that's why I'm explaining a little bit more, because the gradual development of cyclone shelter become essential. Nowadays, the design of a cyclone shelter, it's called it's a multi-purpose cyclone shelter. It's not only people to take shelter. Maybe that shelter can be used as a school. Maybe that shelter can be used as a community center. So it will create opportunity to use multiple purposes. At the same time, the issue of sustainability can also be up to a significant strength. It is addressed. So you see, the engineer, the architect, they realize this situation, and they're coming up with modifying their context. So that is the most important part. At the same time, from the BRAC, because we have the experience of working in the urban context as well as in the rural context, we realize, so these are big cyclone shelter constructed by the government department and agency. These are big in size, and more number of people will coming and take shelter. And as I say, people don't like to come to the shelter leaving behind their assets. So always there has to be some pressure, and forcefully we have to take them to save their lives. Then BRAC realized, what if we can think about something different? Say, for example, if we can convert their house into type of house which can resist the cyclone and storm surge, and they can live their entire year in this house safely, and only during cyclone or storm surge, they can accommodate 5-6 family, their behavior into that houses. So that will be another dimension. Instead of constructing big shelter into different location and people have to go and come back. So here, you don't have to go anywhere. Your house is your shelter. So it's a very small in size, and cost is very minimum. We try to utilize the labor of that gentleman or women to whom we are constructing. So in that way, we try to reduce the cost. So that is the model we are working currently at this moment. And, from BRAC resources in 4 districts, Patuakhali, Borguna, Bhola, and Satkira, we constructed 35 cyclone shelter. During this process, we also learned some modifications. Say, for example, instead of stair, if you provide a slope, the cattle can come into the first floor during shelter easily. If you construct a pipe all through your stair, a disabled can hold it very nicely and go upstairs. So in that way, if there is a passage of what you call airflow, then the temperature during summer could be minimized. There are several aspects we consider. And, with this model, there is a project come into action. It's called, everybody knows about nationally determined contribution. It's the NDC. every country has to submit their NDC intention to reduce the emission. So has to be submitted under the UNFCCC. Bangladesh also submitted an NDC. And there are some targets in mitigation and also some in adaptations. So there are two projects parallelly going at this moment by the name called NDC Action Project. It is actually a Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change. They are the custodian of that project. Obviously, funding is coming from United Nations Environmental Program. In these projects, there are some ladders by herself, and there are some ministry people, department people, academia, research people, everybody come together to see how we can, because BRAC in this ND action project, we just implementing the adaptation part, not the mitigation. Mitigation is looking after another agency called NACOM. So in this adaptation, there is a technical committee. Again, it is headed by the ministry and also some research institute, House Building Research Institute, Public Works Department, Disaster Ministry, and Department of Disaster. Everybody is the member of that committee. And we explain our project to them. And ultimately, the NDC Action Project main objective is to find out a smooth and beautiful strategy and action so that it can be financed and it can be implemented. So that is the objective. And UNEP and UNEP Copenhagen Climate Change Center jointly financing, and they implementing this project in 10 countries, including Bangladesh. So parallelly, other 9 countries also implementing the NDC action project. Some of them are mitigation, some of them are on adaptation. So we are implementing on adaptation. It is to support member countries with knowledge and expertise, and also knowledge of right policy, financial solutions, and capacity building of the people so that they can implement. And, our model, when we presented, because we have already 35 constructed, and the project started to pilot, and this says, what you people done, please explain. So I have already explained my project very briefly. Then I again explained to the ministry. And finally, after several discussions and several field visits, joint field visits, so they find it's a very useful one, and it's ready to scale up. So ministry took a decision, because in Bangladesh, a lot of departments, they have different models, flood models, cyclone models, river erosion models. So they realize this is the model because of its simplicity, its resilience. At the same time, it is people-centric. It is started from community, end up with community. So this is the model ministry acknowledged and adopt as a government model. Obviously, they recognize it's a BRAC's model, so we are taking. So now, jointly, BRAC and governments are looking for finance. We are discussing with different donor agency and other financing agency, also private sector, how we can scale it up better. We are working, as I said from the very beginning, it's an individual household model or community model. So their need of the people, context of the vulnerability, desire, and wish, and demand, and capacity of the people is very important. Because if you select a piece of land, which is not owned by that lady or gentleman, so later it may create problem. That has to be owned by herself or that himself. Again, if you choose a land which is very low-lying land, and we have to fill, then foundation cost of the structure will go high. So because we are limiting only 35, so we have the plenty of opportunity to choose so that we can kept the price minimum as possible. The environmental and livelihood option aspect is also very important when we design and construct. When that project will be scale up, it's come into surface, we have to consider other aspects also. The air circulation, heat, because we provided solar energy, we provided rainwater harvesting from drinking purpose. Maybe if you go for bigger scale, we can bundle 3-4 houses together. It even further reduce the cost. So I come to your question, the second part, do it together. So definitely our approach very much aligned and fit with the concept of do it together. Not only that, we believe successfulness will come if you design on co-create together jointly. So do it together and co-create. Take the idea from the people, because when we finalize our design, we go to the community and show it to them. Look, this is what we are trying to do. So if you have any suggestions or any wish in your dream, you can tell us, we can modify. So that's why we try to develop. And as I say, from the local level to the community level, local level, and national level, all stakeholders related or relevant to this model are discussed, are involved in this process. The last things, the poor people, they have need, they have vulnerability, they have risk, but they don't have enough financial capacity to construct themselves. So their support is needed from the government side as well as from the donor side and agency like us from BRAC. So that's why we are looking, or we are partnering with the government and also with the private sector, because BRAC has a big microfinance program. So there we are in discussion how we can develop a model so that the private sector can also jump in the scale-up model. And I will end up with this. The research and development component has to be there, because this is endless. Till I am not confident enough, this is the end. Maybe there will be another plenty of opportunity we can explore and add it to that. And we have a very good project with MIT. It's called JO CruiseNet project. It's a climate resilient early warning system. They also saw our model and they thought this could be another part of research so that they can develop a bigger scale housing model. So that is also incorporated there. I will stop with this. Maybe you have another questions or something like that.
Well, first of all, I just want to say what an impressive history and achievement. Congratulations. And I have to say, for us, we started our platform. What really keep us heart on fire is to learn from all your stories, because ourselves, we have architecture background, but we are not practitioner anymore. Because as practitioner, what you can do, you can build something, that's one, and then you build two, and then you build three. That's it. But if you can facilitate knowledge exchange, collaboration in this scale and with all these different practices, I think people all learn so much from stories like yours. I have indeed, I think from this very elaborated story, I can already connect immediately to the second question. You mentioned some very, very interesting aspects. You talk about when you just started long time ago, prevention, and then later in this phase, you're talking about adaptation. And I have to think about, in the middle of our program, we've tried to connect Aga Khan Development Network to you. And in fact, the representative, Kira, she was very, very interested in understanding in what way there's partnership can be established. Aga Khan is like BRAC is enormous. So I think it will take, different steps, and also to understand where your activities, your resources, your expertise can be aligned. But perhaps because of the size of both your organization, I mean BRAC and Aga Khan, that it's hard to find the match. We help establish the connections, but we are not broker. We don't want to be in between. So eventually we just let you walk hand in hand and have coffee and talk about the possibilities. So from there, I still see interesting connection, and it's not directly related to the second question, but maybe after the second question, you can also let us know what do you see the potential with Aga Khan Development Network and with our network architecture and development, of course. So the second question is the direct and indirect impact on your project after participating in Global Challenge.
Thank you very much. Definitely there are some direct impact. So we are very much delighted and happy because our initiative and our project was awarded. Thank you very much for that. And also thanks for the introducing us to the Aga Khan. They have earlier also give award some of our BRAC University initiative. So now this time they are working with BRAC. So we have some discussion with them. As I said at the beginning, now we are looking for scaling up opportunities. So we had some discussion with Aga Khan, and along with the government, government, UNEP together, we are trying to try to explore some possibilities how we can build bigger partners so that we can scale our project. In that way, we already have some discussion with some of the donor agencies, and we'll continue. And I will definitely inform our ministry regarding Aga Khan and their interest. So definitely our ministry will be try to explore, is there any possibility for future collaboration? Definitely you will be there because you are the connector and bridging between us and Aga Khan. I like to mention one point here. There is a UN side event. It's called Korean Global Adaptation Week in 2023. It is Asia Pacific Network of Forum for Adaptation. It held in Korea, and we presented our model there, and it was very highly appreciated. And again, there is a request. We have to present our case in Vietnam. We'll do that. And I like to inform you that in COP28 in Dubai, there is a Bangladesh pavilion. And in Bangladesh pavilion on 6th of November, there will be an event, side event, regarding the NDC action project. And this will be our model presentation, including the other country member involved in this process. So you see, there are some direct and there are some indirect benefits, obviously. And I like to thanks again, because during our journey to get adopted by the ministry, our model I'm talking. So we are in the middle, we got the award, and then we inform technical committee, steering committee, and ministry people, look, this has been recognized by some global challenge body. So please, and everybody congratulate us, and they give some extra weightage. Oh, not only us, the other international agency also thought about this process. So that's added value.
Thank you so much. for elaborating your answer. And the first part of your the first part of the interview where you explain history and the whole development process of your models and the of course the leading until the recent achievement of this scaling up action. There's one thing, it's not a question, but I just want to I want to say that I appreciate very much how you connect all this development and eventually you connect the stakeholders, you know, the top, the middle, the bottom layers of the stakeholders all together. And I think in terms of do it together, so far, most of the projects are quite bottom up and they have to, in fact, their organization needs to be much more established and developed until a certain scale that they can involve the level of the ministry and the UN, for example. And I think your experience can be, again, very valuable for practitioners to learn. So it's something for the longer future, but I'm thinking your expertise is not just about this climate resilient housing development. And what I appreciate very much also that social dimension that most of the development agencies forgot to address the importance of social dimension, of the delicacy between male, female space, and all that kind of details you all explained. That's wonderful, but that's still more the architectonic engineering technical side. And then there's this social side you also explained, but the last thing is about the stakeholders. That, you know, how do you communicate properly about the value you provide and eventually engage different layers, different levels of partners. That part is also very, very valuable. So I just want to
Yeah, I understand. It's not actually a question, it's a comment. Thank you very much. And you see, by profession, I am an engineer. I did my graduation, I think it's a long time, 30 years back, 38 years back. So I'm a civil engineer by profession. And then I did my PhD in hydraulic engineering. So what I'm telling this, because when I work with the urban slum, with the urban community, poor people, you see, I try to recruit some junior architect, graduated fresh. I try to recruit them. And then they like to work in Dhaka. They don't like to go to that remote slum or some remote context because they studied in a very good university. They thought, I am the architecture, I will design and then it will be implemented. And you see, I changed the designation. I make it community architecture. So you have to start your career with the community. Then you have to talk to the community what they actually want. Then you have to design. You don't have to construct a big Padma bridge. Maybe later, one day you will do that. That is also needed. But here we are looking for some other aspects because people are at risk. People are vulnerable. For that, they are not at all responsible. This is due to something else because of the greenhouse gas emission, because of the heat. There is a sea level rise, there is a more cyclone, there is a more rain, there is a flooding. Then you have to find out the balance between science and the social science and the environment and the technology, how best you can design for the community. And not only just even in a paper, so you have to come up with a model so that they can visualize three-dimensionally what actually you are talking about. And they can suggest, obviously, for sure, when they go with their model, people connect. Look, this is fantastic, I like it, but this is I don't like. I need a small window here. You know, these kind of things from the very beginning we are looking into, and that may help the future generation or the future architecture community that will come into the professions. You know, it is not a one-time business. It is time and time again. You have to take ideas and you have to modify. Because, say for example, big city, how long you can provide drinking water every day from underground? Is it possible? It's an endless process, because in Dhaka nowadays, groundwater table is going 3 to 4 meters every year. So your water table is going down and down and down. You need more energy, more water. If we can design our building, we can harvest rain and store it for flush, gardening, car wash, and everything. Only drinking water can be taken from underground. There will be good balance. So, you know, so we have to think judiciously how best you can utilize. So in that way, we can, plenty of opportunity we can contribute.
Bravo. So we stay in touch, because I think, as I said, in the future, there might be also different kind of exchange that we would like to involve your experience and your stories. I think there are so many things I see. It, as I said, right? It's that engineering part, the design part, but there's also the social part. There's the organizational part with the stakeholders, and all these are extremely interesting. And the last thing you mentioned, again, aligned with our mission, is that the architecture education. I don't talk about engineering, let's just say people who train as designers are very often focusing on a very small amount of population on Earth. And these are very often people who have that capacity to pay you. So of course, oh, I'm an architect, I'm a designer, I have to find my clients. But there are so many opportunities beside that small scope. And that's for us a very important reason to continue doing architecture and development, to share these stories with practitioners, but especially with young architects and also students, that they start to have a different kind of perspective about their future practice. It's not just about designing these fancy villas and museums.
Yeah.
There are so many things we can do. So I do think that this is a very inspiring ending note. And
So,
we also have taken really enough time of your day. Thank you very much.
and thank you very much. So if anything help for the future generation, that is also my intention. Thank you.
Great. What I would do is that it will take some time, because we have many interviews now. We will curate this content. And one thing I would like to personally also get back to you and your team is to let me know if you would still like to continue the conversation with the Aga Khan Development Network with Kira. If not, no problem. But if yes, let's see how we can kind of pick up that thread again.
No, we like to continue. See, maybe always I cannot join and cannot give time. So, you know, in our email thread, there is a lady called Shinchita Poddar. She is also our project manager for NDC project. So keep touch with her. And also Mr. Saidur Lushan, he's also our one of the focal. So if they are involved, that's fine. Maybe if there is an urgent policy level or strategy level decision needed, so I will be joined there also.
Yeah. Okay. I hope there will be some continuation of conversation, because we won't be there. So BRAC and Aga Khan, someone has to take like pick up the thread and continue the conversation. But
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you too. Have a very nice day, and also
Same with